Hey guys, how's it going? We have another article here which goes over Palpatine returning in Episode 9, Star Wars Inside Intel Palpatine's contingency plan. So, Palpatine's been out there all this time, pulling the strings, which was probably one of the worst lines in Episode 9, I think, followed by, had he return? I don't know. If you want to know the now canon explanation of how Palpatine actually returned, it's been sort of dropped and hinted here and there since Chuck Wendig's Aftermath novels. And then, of course, it was a big thing in Star Wars Battlefront 2's storyline, where we saw that Robo-Palpatine, which was essentially just like a sentry droid, that received intel from Palpatine's contingency plan. Now, Palpatine's contingency plan was essentially his plan if everything failed, if he died. And so his plan was sent out to all of these different sentry droids that had his face, or well, essentially just kind of like a computer generated face inside of a mask, as we saw in the game, to kind of give the effect that Palpatine's still around and these are his plans that he wanted to execute. This article goes over everything that you need to know if you guys are interested in that. Now, my thoughts on it, this is the new canon, this is the way it is, but I always take this as now fan fiction. I always take it as just some sort of a legend story that wasn't really what George Lucas wanted. Now, I will also say that this does tread quite heavily on, poorly, but quite heavily on what was similar to Dark Empire. Those comics essentially focused on Palpatine coming back after Return of the Jedi, and it focused on him, albeit in a much cooler way than, you know, coming back as this like decrepit, beaten up, broken dude who's controlling, you know, a bunch of Snokes throughout the galaxy that just gets yeeted so easily. Now, in that version, Palpatine came back as a young man, but he had like hundreds of clones of himself in these tanks, in these vats. Essentially like we saw in The Force Unleashed, but just with Palpatine. Luke turned to the dark side for a brief moment, and then he fought Palpatine like a million different times, and he was very difficult to kill, but then he finally killed him, and he killed all of them. So that was the legend story, but this goes over the entire story in canon now. It goes over Operation Cinder, which is what happened in the Battlefront 2 game, as we know, and essentially, I'll give you a quick rundown here. Operation Cinder sought to destroy Imperial and New Republic planets alike with the goal to destroy sensitive information or other liabilities. Now, we also heard about Operation Cinder in The Mandalorian Season 2. If you remember Bill Burr's character, it was a very good acting performance by Bill Burr when he was going over the memories of Operation Cinder, and you can see the actual terror that went into everyone's eyes, not just, you know, the good guys or the bad guys from a certain point of view, but everybody, and the amounts of lives that they've lost just at the hands of the higher-ups in the Empire causing this catastrophe. So essentially, the operation was carried out in various ways, including the use of climate disruption arrays, which once fired upon a planet would create catastrophic weather conditions, vortex detonators, a customized explosive that made the planet of Narconis uninhabitable, and the Imperial Navy who engaged in battles on planets that attempted to resist the operation, such as Naboo, Burnin Khan, as mentioned in The Mandalorian, Abednego, and more. Operation Cinder was devastating, but it was also solidifying many allegiances to the newly erected New Republic, and saw many Imperials defect due to the brutality of the operation. And then it goes into a lot of the stuff with the Battle of Jakku, Gallius Rax, who was like a self-appointed dude that kind of just put himself in charge. And then, of course, it goes into Sloane, and you can read all about this here. Why this article is being released now after Episode 9, you know, was several years ago. I don't know, kind of feels like they should have released it right then and there, or explained it in the freaking movie, because you don't need to, you know, play video games and read books in order to understand something that should have been in the film, I feel like, and not just chopped up to, how did he return? I don't know. For many years prior to his demise, Palpatine sought immortality on the Sith planet of Exegol. It was on this planet that he and his cultists, known as the Sith Eternal, experimented with cloning. Exegol was also where Palpatine built his Final Order fleet. As an immortal Sith, Palpatine would reign supreme over the galaxy with his Sith Armada. This would be the grand finale of the contingency, known only to a select few. When Palpatine was killed on the second Death Star, his consciousness transferred to a clone of his own body and Exegol, but the body was too weak to contain him. This led to Palpatine creating more clones and stand casts of himself in the hopes that one would offer a more suitable vessel for him to inhabit. All of this effort ultimately culminated in Rey, The daughter of one of Palpatine's strandcasts, she was the perfect vessel, but her father and mother did everything they could to hide her from the sinister grandfather. Destiny and the contingency would catch up to Rey in the form of the First Order, led by one of Palpatine's evil duplicates called Snoke. Although Snoke was unsuccessful in bringing Rey to Palpatine and was unexpectedly killed by his protege Kylo Ren, Palpatine continued to pull the strings in order to reel in his granddaughter so he could finally achieve ultimate power. And if you don't know this, yes, Palpatine controlled Snoke. With the Final Order, and I believe this was done with the ring right there, which was from the depths of Vader's castle. With the Final Order fully operational, it slowly deployed from Exegol and pledged to destroy planet after planet. The Resistance worked quickly to counter this new threat. Rey accepted her role as a Jedi and Rebel and arrived on Exegol to bring a conclusion to the conflict. Palpatine planned for Rey to partake in a ritual which would allow him to inhabit her body and live forever, but Rey had other plans. With the help of Ben Solo and Jedi Past, Rey took her final steps and defeated the Phantom Menace once and for all. That's cool. I like how they put Phantom Menace in there. Did you learn something new about the contingency? Check back bi-weekly to learn something new about the Star Wars galaxy. So it's all right here if you guys want to know more in depth, particularly about the Battle of Jakku and Gallius Rax and Sloane. Then I will link this article down below for you. But I thought this was a really cool part in Battlefront 2. I remember when it came out and I was playing the game. I was like, and remember the trailer? This was pretty sweet. And then, you know, we realized that it's not actually Palpatine, it's just, you know, a sentry droid. But I always thought that was a nice little touch that they put in there. You know, they could have just had a robot, but they had, you know, Palpatine's face reimagined sort of thing, reanimated. So there it is. Regardless what you think about the sequel trilogy or anything, this is the canon. So if you do want to learn more about it, check out this whole timeline and all of the different sources belonging to this information, from the Aftermath novels to Battlefront 2 and so on. So have a great day. Let me know what you think about this article and the explanation down below in the comments. I will see you in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always. Now that we've reached the end of the video, I want to give a very big shout out to two things. Number one, the forums on the website. A lot of you guys have blown this site up, and a lot of you are actually making quite a bit of cash for free without doing anything, just by having a popular post. So that's one thing Mark and I wanted to do. We wanted to give you the opportunity to essentially be a content creator of your own, but without the algorithm of YouTube and starting your own Star Wars channel or any channel, which can be hard enough, especially it being so saturated in today's world. But to give you a sort of platform off of my shoulders that you can go here and create whatever sort of content you want to make, and get paid for it, which is cool. A lot of you guys, 6,245 boards. And this website has only been around for not that long, just, I mean, a few months really. And the fact that you guys are doing this kind of stuff already is pretty heartwarming. And for me, it's a big deal because my friends were all online. They were all on Star Wars forums growing up. So, you know, people would go to the parties and, you know, have fun and all that. And I would come home and I would just go on my forums, you know, that was my weekend, that was my thing, and, you know, play Super Smash Bros and stuff like that. And it was a good time, and Call of Duty 3 and all that, you know, as the years went on. But anyways, I just want to give a big shout out to the StarWarsTheory.com forums for all of you guys who are just so freaking active on here, and I couldn't be more happy, couldn't be more proud, and I love you all. Thank you so much for continuing to make this community a really great and awesome place for so many different people that were a lot like me when I was growing up. We didn't have a lot of friends, and it's great hearing your guys' stories, how you meet new friends online here, and it's a great community. The second shout out is going to be to the Spotify podcast that I have. Every single day there is a new podcast out there, and you guys have got that to top 10 in the world. So I want to reach that #1 spot, and with your help I'll continue to post new content daily, and I hope you guys will be interested in it and, you know, vibing to it and checking it out. A lot of you guys watch it on, or listen to it on your night shifts, which is cool. It's pretty sweet to hear. So I hope I can make that a little easier for you, and yeah, I'll continue to do so with more content, more exclusive stuff, and hopefully it'll lead to some very big interviews in the future. maybe with Hayden Christensen, maybe with some more people. So the producers of my show on Spotify and Apple iTunes and Amazon Music are the actual producers of the Jay Leno Tonight Show. Tonight Show with Jay Leno. So they have some pretty crazy contacts, and they're working on getting me some sweet interviews with some big names in Star Wars. So sky's the limit there. Let's just keep pushing and keep making content, and hopefully it rises to #1, and then we'll really be turning some heads. So hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for this little message, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.